The Truth of Girls.
Hi everyone, it's Sonia here. I think I've caught the media in a big fat lie. Okay, you know how lately there have been all these stories coming out about people dying in the Dominican Republic while on vacation under suspicious circumstances? Americans keep mysteriously dying while on vacation in the Dominican Republic. Tourist deaths in the Dominican Republic are becoming a growing concern. Mystery over couple's death at Dominican Republic resort. Mystery surrounds vacationers' deaths in Dominican Republic. Suspicious deaths do happen to vacationers in the Caribbean. A lot of people have had mishaps in Mexico. Usually the media tends to downplay it though. So why are we hearing so much about the Dominican Republic? Is it really that dangerous, or is there something else going on? Well, here's what I found out. I came across this article from the Dominican Republic, Dominican Top 10, and they were saying, as fake news, the truth on the negative campaign about Dominican Republic. First of all, tourists do die while on vacation. Apparently it happens a lot, and there were a couple studies done in like Scotland and another place, I think it was Finland, and they found like 400 and something people died each year from each of those countries while on vacation. So it's not like people never die on vacation. They do. This website here lists all the deaths, and there are some really surprising facts surrounding them which the mainstream media didn't report, such as some of the people that we got the impression died in a resort were not even in a resort at all. There were a couple who died 2 hours apart, which is very strange. Turns out that they had like drugs in their room, galanpertin, loxafen, and oxycodone. Although, you know, who knows, maybe there was foul play involved. But in a lot of the cases, these were people who had pre-existing medical conditions. One of them, the one that they wouldn't allow on the plane, and then he later died, turned out that guy was a kidney transplant recipient, and you know, he died of something related to his condition. And the story you heard about the woman who got kidnapped and held and beaten, almost died, it says here it was determined to be of domestic violence and then turned insurance fraud as the woman demanded 2.2 million, which the insurer did not pay her, so she went public. So it turns out that this may really be a smear campaign against the Dominican Republic. And it turns out this may be for political motives, and that this is being engineered by the US government and carried out by the American media. I know, sounds like a crazy conspiracy theory, but this may have actually very little to do with the Dominican Republic and a lot more to do with China. I know, China, like who would think? China and the Dominican recently made a very important trade deal. Far-reaching cooperation agreement signed between China and the Dominican Republic. Well, to sum it up, China is kind of investing in the Dominican Republic, namely they're giving them loans to build up infrastructure. It was announced that a US $600 million loan to upgrade power distribution would be made to the Dominican energy sector by the China Export-Import Bank. Although no overall value has been placed on the level of Chinese support for the Dominican Republic, Reuters reported earlier this year that this could reach US $3.1 billion through a package of investments and low-interest loans. Speaking specifically about China's Belt and Road Initiative, President Medina said the country was a natural ally as a regional center for trade between China and the rest of the Americas. The Dominican Republic, he said, situated in the heart of Central America and the Caribbean, boasts one of the region's most well-connected port networks, as well as a highly trained workforce in production, transport, and logistics. Okay, big deal, you say, but wait, there's more. China is not only involved with the Dominican, but a whole cluster of countries in the Caribbean. This is what they're calling China's Belt and Road, the Caribbean and West Indies. China's diplomatic and trade reach in pursuit of its Belt and Road Initiative has included the Caribbean and the West Indies, and rubs up against both the United States and to a lesser degree the United Kingdom in doing so. At present, about a third of the major island groupings have signed up to join. with China treading carefully so as not to antagonize the US too much. Look at what China's doing. Of the countries concerned, both Cuba and Jamaica have bilateral investment treaties with China, which permits a basic trade platform to be codified and encourages investment in each other's countries. Okay, so they've got a lot of stuff going on with trade, and as you see already, they're hinting this is kind of aggravating the Americans. And look at this map. China is involved with all these countries. Caribbean and West Indies nations that have joined China's Belt and Road Initiative: Cuba, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Barbados, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, and Suriname. Interesting. So what's the problem? Well, apparently America doesn't like it. Like, they really don't like it. You know how America likes to have a monopoly on everything. Well, China has accused the US of meddling with their Dominican Republic ties. China's embassy in the Dominican Republic on Thursday accused the United States of trying to interfere in its relations with the Caribbean nation, condemning remarks it attributed to a US official as lacking in respect to both nations. The aforementioned U.S. government official questioned the Chinese-Dominican relationship without any proof and aims to interfere in the current stable development of the bonds of friendship and cooperation between China and the Dominican Republic. We object to this comment, which is lacking in respect to both the Chinese and the Dominican side. Yeah, America has a long history of going into countries, giving them loans. Well, actually, a lot of time it was the IMF and or American banks. They invest in stuff, but then you see the deal is you have to pay back the loan, but also you have to hire all these contractors from America that would come in and build the infrastructure. It's like they get contracts through this whole deal and they set up shop there, and that way they also make money on the resources of the country. Well, China is doing something like that, maybe giving these countries a better deal even. And clearly America doesn't like it. They've already talked about that, trying to interfere, not being happy about what's going on. And what it really looks like to me is that America is ticked off about what's going on. Of course, they're not going to like attack China directly. What can they do to mess with them? They can totally screw up the industry, such as the tourism industry for the Dominican Republic, which obviously is a major source of income for the country. Maybe like one of the biggest. So it's like you mess with what we want to do with trade. You've like established yourself all across the Caribbean. It's this network now, this Belt and Road Initiative. You've got all these countries lined up. They know this makes the U.S. feel threatened, I guess, on a trade level. So is it such a stretch that they're actually mounting a smear campaign against the Dominican Republic, like as a retaliation? I really think that something like that's going on, because people do die when they go on vacation. There were some incidents. It is concerning when you hear they were drinking from the minibar. When you find out the whole story, though, it's like, hey, you know, you didn't tell us the whole deal. Like, this was a person who just had a kidney transplant. You just conveniently left that out. So then it really starts to look like they're smearing them. So I think that something really like sneaky and political is going on here. And I wanted to bring it to your attention. So let me know what you think. Pretty sneaky, huh? Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for your support on Patreon. And I'll see you next time.